Veteran boat pilot Mickey Giacomazzi has literally performed thousands of boat jumps in live shows and for the movies. But today, Mickey faces a challenge that he's never come up against before. High up in the eastern Cascade Mountain Range on the Idaho Panhandle sits the beautiful Coeur d'Alene Resort. Today, the peacefulness of this serene setting will be shattered by a courageous stunt boat pilot from Miami. Our Stuntmasters team has constructed a gazebo on the world's largest floating boardwalk which surrounds the resort. In just a few minutes, Mickey Giacomazzi will open the throttle on his 200-horsepower Class 1 ski boat, speed across this lake, hit a ramp at 55 miles per hour, and crash through the gazebo. If all goes well, Mickey will land his boat safely on the other side, right side up. But that isn't even the whole story. Our pyro experts have loaded the gazebo with dangerous high explosives, which are rigged to explode upon the boat's impact. Now, this combination stunt, a difficult boat jump, smashing through a building and surviving a ball of fire, is a daunting enterprise even for someone as experienced as Mick. And if something goes wrong, he could crash, burn, flip, or drown.
The wind's blowing pretty hard across the lake, and it's creating a lot of rough water. And my biggest fear is approaching the ramp on a uncontrollable wave or wake and busting through the ramp. Also, if I do make it on the ramp, getting into the air, since we're going 100 feet plus, the gusts are blowing from the right side of the boat at a 45-degree angle. I'm worried about the boat getting caught in the wind and flipping upside down and trapping me underneath.
When he's doing a stunt, Mickey takes his job very seriously, but most of the time, he just wants to have fun. An 11-year veteran of water ski and boat shows, Mickey has always been more at home in the water than on land. The boat being used for this jump is a stock Plastron Larson Mercury 200, which Mickey has jumped several times before. But this jump is like no other that Mickey has ever tried before, requiring a number of dangerous challenges. The precise driving needed for a 100-plus foot jump, the impact of crashing through a gazebo, and the unpredictability of high explosives all have Mickey concerned for his life. It's even doubtful whether Mickey's boat will survive the grueling ordeal intact. In order to prepare this watercraft for its demolition journey, Mickey and his marine safety specialist, Lindsay Bell, have made extensive modifications.
We drain the fuel tanks, we add water for ballast in the nose to keep the boat level. Basically, all we're trying to do is take out anything that could hit them or hurt them and bolt everything down. We've removed the seats up front and we've installed a hand strap. This strap I'll use in the event that I decide to sit in the seat and roll over so I don't take debris in the face.
Despite these preparations, Mickey knows that once the boat is airborne, anything can happen.
It's basically a flying wedge in the air, so if he moves, we're both changing direction, and if that was to happen, he would miss the landing spot, which would be even worse. He adjusted his seat into a lower mode, so that when I do crash through the gazebo, be able to get low so that the 2x4s and nails don't rip through my head.
How is Mickey preparing for this dangerous encounter?
I've been watching a lot of cartoons.
What Mickey can't joke about is the most crucial element of this jump, the specially engineered ramp, complete with floating platform and friction-reducing rollers. The designer of this water-bound launch pad is veteran stuntman Peter Vorak. Peter used it himself in 1980 to set this boat jump world record, which held up for 10 years.
See, those rolls, they come like this. This is the last one, right? Yeah.
Precise assembly of the ramp is crucial. The unpredictable motion of the water will cause Mickey enough problems. Even if Mickey hits the ramp perfectly, special effects expert Ken Speed is preparing an explosive reception for him.
My fireballs will take out some of this and fly it. And the heat will take some of the roof off. We plan on the boat taking most of the gazebo out, and my explosives will fill up the gazebo with fire. So it should look pretty good.
But before the explosives are rigged, the gazebo has been taken down and stunt coordinator BJ Worth wants a test jump.
I'd rather you do one test. Right, I'm for the test. Full distance here, which isn't way out there. Because already the ramp is back 6 feet off the platform. Right. And then we lock it in there, you do a rehearsal, you set up the gazebo, rock and roll.
There are still many unknowns, but if this test goes well, our crew will move the gazebo into place, rig the pyrotechnics, and give Mickey the green light for the actual stunt. And dive. What a setback. Mickey appears to be all right, but what could have caused him to come up so short? A look at the replay reveals that the boat seems to have caught on the bottom of the ramp, causing it to practically stop in its tracks. Even at only 40 miles per hour, that impact had to take its toll on the ramp and the boat.
Are you right? Yeah, fine. Kenny! The boat's scarred up pretty bad. We got some good gel color and five black. You have a lower end on it? Lower unit? No problem, nothing wrong with that. Oh, really? We cut that on the plywood. I went up in the air, and I felt good, and all of a sudden I just went wham! Straight down. You know, I think at that speed I should have cleared the dock. You would have easily cleared the dock. I guess we'll go take a look at the ramp.
Sure enough, both the ramp and the boat have been severely damaged. Oh boy. Yeah. In the case of the boat, Mickey will patch her up and ask an old friend to give him one more ride. But the ramp requires extensive welding and reassembly just to get back to normal, and Mickey and his crew still have to figure out a way to get more clearance underneath. As the minutes tick by, it's becoming clear that this is one challenge that's as dangerous below the surface as above, and that's going to severely test veteran stuntman Nicky Giacomazzi.
Welcome back to Stuntmasters, where it's time to meet one of the most respected stunt coordinators in motion pictures. Glenn Wilder has spent nearly 30 years devising imaginative ways to put believability into Hollywood stunts. He knows just what to do when the director calls action. In the bone-crushing world of Hollywood action films, every little move is carefully choreographed. Supervising every risky moment is the stunt coordinator, someone like this man. And if the film is really lucky, they don't just have someone like him, they've got Glenn Wilder.
I've worked with him on 2 pictures now, and I've tried to work with him as much as I can, because I dig him so much. He's great. He's one of the nicest,
Really nice.
sweetest people. He's like, you don't feel he would hurt and fly, yet you know he'd break every bone in your body.
For many of Hollywood's biggest action films, Glenn Wilder has been the man behind the men and women behind the camera.
He's just fabulous. I mean, without him, I could not have done this movie. He's extraordinary.
A 30-year veteran of the movie business, the former UFC football star's speed, strength, and sheer enthusiasm quickly established him as one of Hollywood's top stunt performers.
I'm just doing this till I decide what I want to do when I grow up. I'm still doing the same games that I had as a little kid, playing cops and robbers and having fun and trying to do it right.
Glenn's coworkers are not as modest about his abilities.
Glenn's my man. It's been the most incredible stunt work you've ever seen.
For the action-adventure Point Break, Glenn was the spark for a movie that bills itself as 100% pure adrenaline.
Right on, man. It's so funny when we do fight scenes sometimes because the sound doesn't really matter sometimes. He would just be like screaming, kick him, kick him, kick him. I'll punch him in the face.
Despite his high-energy approach, Glenn pays serious attention to every crucial detail, sharing his years of experience as Hollywood's hottest young actors.
There was this picture fighting, and picture fighting, you keep forgetting. You use body language to sell what you're doing, and it's the power and everything else comes from body language. It's like if you go into a bar and see a girl, body language is the whole thing, but it's the same basis as far as doing homework and everything else.
Whether the body doing the talking is the stunt double or the star, it's Glenn's job to heighten the illusion of danger while keeping everyone as safe as possible.
You take the framework of what is written in the script, you talk with the director and the stars, and you try to look at it from a photographic point of view.
Is that one of your guys' lists?
Not one of mine.
You always do that.
For the crime thriller Presidio, Glenn oversaw the action scenes of star Mark Harmon. When Glenn teamed up with director Peter Hyams again on Narrow Margin, it was Gene Hackman who benefited from the Wilder touch.
The cars were being chased by helicopters, and it was going down the mountain up in Vancouver. And they made a camera car that we called the Rhino, and it had roll bars all the way out in front, and I had to drive the camera car down the mountain. My car couldn't steer it because it had so much stuff out in front. I couldn't make the turn unless I hit that tree and bounced off it, hit this rock and did that. It turned out very effective in the film.
The film's finale proved to be a total rush. The stars were all on top of the train for the close-up, and then stunt doubles came in to hang on for the chilling long shots. What made this scene extra tense for Glenn was that actress Ann Archer was doubled by his wife, Amy.
I had a lot of trust in Glenn. I figured, I didn't know that. I probably should have thought more about it, but he's where I learned everything, so I had a lot of trust in him.
Glenn's expertise isn't limited by the terrain, as he demonstrated when he sent John Johnson's swamp boat soaring through a Louisiana bayou. When he's not on location, Glenn often works close to his Florida home, like this shoot for the series Superboy. The quick-paced schedule here requires all his ingenuity.
Well, I try to never do the same gag, never do the same punches, but always should be a little different. The object is to come up with new ideas and new things, and that's the big challenge.
For this episode, a Superboy weakened by deadly kryptonite must fight off a young Lex Luthor and find a way to cut down the evil Metallo. Glenn takes the show's actors and stunt doubles through each shot, step by step.
You try to eliminate the unnecessary, the stupid things, the things that can go wrong. I take all the pressure off the stunt people. I have the pressure on me. I'm the one that's responsible.
Action! Go! Oh, no!
Once again, the streets are safe for superheroes, while the man who made the set safe for both the heroes and villains can go home knowing he got this game of cops and robbers right. He's Glenn Wilder, Superman and Stuntmaster.
All right, Mickey's made his test jump. Now he has some idea of the impact of the takeoff ramp and is landing back into the water. Now it's time for the moment of truth.
The way the wind's blowing today, once the boat is airborne, we're going over about 500 feet, if not farther. So that gives us a lot of time in the air. If a gust of wind comes in and the wave's blowing out at a 45-degree angle, it can tip this boat right upside down and trap me underneath.
As you can see in this replay, the propeller from Mickey's engine caught on the lower ramp brace, causing him to drop off the end and bounce off of the boardwalk.
Under the direction of Peter Horak, our crew has worked around the clock to get the ramp back in one piece and give Mickey the extra clearance he needs.
Checking the clearance on the lower unit of the ramp. Last time we had a problem with the lower unit striking the ramp, which gave us a bad attitude.
Meanwhile, Lindsey Bell and his crew have patched the boat back together in hopes that it can make it up that ramp one final time.
This boat is on its last leg. This will probably be its last session.
This time, Mickey will not depend on calculations to determine the ramp clearance. He is having the crew actually pull the boat all the way into position.
We added the barrels in the front of the ramp, and we put air inside it to raise the front of the ramp. At the back of the ramp, we're adding more weight so we get more angle of attack so that we'll be able to go higher into the gazebo with more distance, more speed.
While the crew puts the finishing touches on the gazebo, Ken Speed is figuring out how to make it go out with a bang.
All the mortars are tapered to go this way. He's supposed to go through the center, if everything goes well. The thing that I'm worried about is if anything happens to the boat, and he's committed, and he comes to the center line, I'm also committed. You know, I can't stop.
My biggest concern is getting straight up the ramp. I have a little trouble with rough water out there, and it's throwing me around a little. So if I can get straight up the ramp, the rest is going to be real easy.
Everything is ready. Mickey has decided against another practice jump, fearing that the boat may not be able to hold together. Ken is making all of the charges live, so the set is shut down and all of the safety personnel are sent to their positions.
Hey, BJ. Yes. I guess all the pyrotechnics are set and everything's cool, huh? We're ready for you, sir. Have a good one. Oh, this is fun, isn't it?
Mickey has given the signal, so the cameras prepare to roll. Anticipating a dramatic explosion, we put them in the air, on the dock, in the water, and on the doomed boat itself.
Action when you're ready.
Mickey is in his first position and has been given clearance. He'll go when he's ready. Stick it! Stick it again! All right, he did it! This is a place of extreme danger, a terrain known only to a handful of experts who trust their lives to sheer skill. Zone 3 was considered an impossibility just 5 years ago. That was before the Masters of Stone. Far from the maddening crowd toils an amazingly skilled and powerful breed of Stuntmasters. You probably have never seen them because they work in a world beyond your reach. They hold the balance of their lives in the tips of their fingers. This is the state of the art of the clinging, grasping, lunging, and plunging world of rock climbing. These are the Masters of Stone.
Like a choreographed dance, a precision movement, because you can't be scraping your feet around. It has to be precisely placed on the knob, and you equalize your weight. It's a balancing act to put how much weight can you put in your fingers and your left foot and move up the rock.
This is a sport which has no place for hot dogs and daredevils. A daily regimen of torturous strengthening exercises can make the difference between an exhilarating first ascent and a fatal plunge. Considering its difficulty, very few climbers among the top ranks are seriously injured, much like stuntmen. It's the underprepared amateurs whose frequent injuries constantly remind us just how dangerous these climbs are.
You know, it's like if you see a guy at the circus swallowing a sword, or some dude laying on a bed of nails or something, you're not going to go home and try to lay on a bed of nails. You know, it's just common sense. And people who don't have that amount of common sense and go up and try to solo something and fool themselves into thinking they're in control, they're going to get hurt, you know. I guess it's like survival of the species, you know. Dumb ones die.
High-level climbing falls into several classifications. The most popular is free climbing, which involves using a rope as a safety line. But free soloing involves no hardware at all. Just a climber's hands, feet, unyielding determination, and unshakable nerves. Even though free soloing is exponentially more dangerous than all other forms of rock climbing, for some it is the only way to achieve the ultimate adrenaline rush.
Free soloing is the ultimate form of free climbing. You eliminate the rope, you're up there like a bird or a lizard. It's about as free as you can be.
While all of what these 24 top climbers do seems equally impossible to us mere mortals, within this elite group, each has his own version of the perfect climb.
At the Wild Iris, the only thing I'm interested in is bouldery, powerful moves. The routes are short and savage. And to me, that's the only thing that gathers my interest and holds it. It's something that's right at the edge of the strength of my tendons.
For some, just being able to climb at all is enough of a thrill. Mark Wellman nearly lost his life in a climbing accident. But those who thought he would never climb again knew little of this man's determination and desire. But like every adventure sport, there are those who take a radical departure from the mainstream. In this case, that honor goes to the Rock Warriors, an aggressive group of hardcore climbers who get together from time to time for a primal game of King of the Mountain. Top climbers Dan Osmond and Dave Griffith spawned this spin-off. And despite some of the aggressive antics and dangerous moves, these guys are all friends and no one gets hurt. To these climbers, traditional climbing contests do not satisfy their quest for the competitive climbing duel. To them, trophies do not hold the value of that elusive prize which awaits them at the end of each challenging climb. But all climbers have one thing in common. They all want that adrenaline rush which greets them at the top of any mountain. And while some use a rope, some only their limbs, and some sheer determination, there is no denying that these are some of the world's most impressive stuntmasters.
Now let's join our TV crew at a speedway in South Dakota for a homecoming show with a veteran stunt performer with a meadow-crunching bag of tricks. The thrill show is as American as apple pie. Audiences from coast to coast never tire of flying vehicles and awesome explosions. Today, the tradition continues at Usett Speedway in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, the hometown of a feisty 58-year-old showman named Buckskin Jack McElrath.
I think tonight's show is probably the greatest stunt show that's ever been put together.
Well, maybe not the greatest, but for this former rodeo cowboy, hype and hoopla are half the fun.
I did it all. There was one rodeo one time where I announced
Worked my specialty act with flying buckskin horses, bulldog steers, road bucking horses, and I probably even helped put in some stock and some cattle.
After attending a thrill show in 1976, Jack decided to change careers after noticing how excited the fans reacted. On the spot, Jack decided to start one of his own.
So it got me to thinking that that's what they wanted. They were hungry for stunts. So then I started doing motorcycle stunts, and in 1976, I jumped over 10 farm tractors and a couple of cars inside the Sioux Falls Arena.
Jack quickly put together an act that includes stunts like the firewall crash.
Firewall crash that was used on all the old-time thrill shows with a stuntman on the hood of an automobile. We crashed 3 firewalls riding a motorcycle. The dive bomber is one of the feature stunts, one of the ones I enjoy the most. Come up the 32-foot ramp, fly 30, 40 feet through the air, and try to put the front bumper in the front windshield of the catch car. And the crowd just loves it, and it's a good way to get the show started.
Every summer since 1985, Jack has traveled through the heartland of America entertaining audiences. But this performance is something special.
Being back in Sioux Falls means a lot to me, and it just makes you feel good to be able to come back to your hometown.
Tonight, Jack plans to break the world record in his trademark stunt, the fire slide.
I'm going to go for a new record fire slide and scoop shovel behind an automobile. We're going for 150 feet here tonight.
Jack's troupe includes a variety of stunt acts. Flying Stephen Marie Brand perform exciting ATV jumps. 17-year-old Matthew Samp amazes the audience with a stunt illusion. Is the Boom Boom Lady, performing the classic exploding box stunt. Always looking to add new events, this year Jack is jumping a dune buggy, ramp to ramp.
But tonight, this is a trial run, first time, brand new dune buggy. I've got the down ramp out about 60 feet, and I'm going to just get in there and go for it.
That jump didn't work out as planned. Buckskin's top. I'm sure he's all right.
This is the first time I drove that dune buggy. I got in it, and I was flying by the seat of my pants and trying to find a gear that would go forward in. I knew I was in too low a gear and wasn't going to get up enough speed.
A wave to the crowd. He's okay. Finally, it's almost time for Jack's record-breaking slide through a fireball of burning hay. Buckskin is attempting to shatter the world record of 130 feet. This is a dangerous stunt, and Jack has had some hair-raising experiences to prove it.
I suffered some burns. I burned up some shirts. I burned up some Levi's. I burned up 3 fire suits. And now I'm wise enough to soak my shirt in water and wet the breeches down and wear good gloves. So I've got on a lot of protective equipment.
Everything is set. This is it. Incredible! He's done it! A new world record of 150 feet.
That's a legitimate 150 feet, and I don't know whether we want to try and top that or not. I suppose we probably will. But at this point, I'm sure happy with 150 feet.
Another town, another show, and a world record for Buckskin Jack. All in all, his homecoming has been a big success.
I was real pleased with the show tonight. We had lots of good stunts here, lots of action, and anytime you can do as many stunts as we did tonight and have everybody walk away from them, I consider it an excellent show. I'd love to come to your town. We're worldwide stunts. We'll go anywhere, anytime.
Speed. His goal was to be the fastest human being on water. Lake Coniston in England is the battleground where John Campbell waged his personal war for the world water speed record. His attack on the 300-mile-per-hour speed barrier would be the culmination of years of planning. It would be the last attempt of his life.
This is a terrible thought about trying to break a record. You'll see, once you start, you'll pass the point of no return. See, there's no going back in life. If you start something, you've got to finish it.
The lust for speed runs deep in the Campbell family. Donald Campbell's only daughter, Gina, became a European offshore powerboat champion, and his father, Sir Malcolm Campbell, held several land speed records. In those days, there were no wind tunnel tests, no computer simulations. The record breakers just climbed on board, put their foot down, and were either lucky or dead. Sir Malcolm was very lucky.
I think his father had a tremendous influence on his life. And I think he always went out his life to prove that he was his father's son. And not to prove he was better, but that he was made of the same sort of material.
I name you Bluebird, and wish you and your pilot Godspeed and the best of every success.
Taking over his father's legacy would not be simple. The first record attempts with Bluebird were far from successful. Campbell narrowly averted disaster when a gearbox exploded at 150 miles per hour. But Donald Campbell scoffed at the notion his family carried a speed demon curse.
Sorry, I can't buy this Campbell disaster, bad luck, what have you. There is no form of advanced engineering, no form of record breaking where you get it smooth. It just doesn't happen. It wouldn't be record breaking if it did happen that way. Records were broken every week. World records today are broken but very seldom, and this is probably one of the reasons why you don't get away with them easily.
American and British speed demons leapfrogged one another on the way to faster and faster records. The competition was intense. The contest for water speed records turned deadly as both Yanks and Brits met with disaster.
In early 1950s, my father was talking, eating, sleeping, drinking world records. So it just became an everyday form of life for me. And being totally naive as a child, was not aware of the inherent dangers involved.
Even as other racers crashed, Donald sank every penny he had into building a new jet-powered Bluebird. This ship would reach a water speed record 202 miles per hour. Never satisfied with his achievements, Donald Campbell built a jet-powered automobile. In 1960, he then set it loose on the Bonneville Salt Flats in Utah. He achieved a record, but not the one he wanted. The car went airborne at 400 miles per hour, the fastest crash ever recorded on land. In 1964, Campbell once again edged up the speed on what seemed to be suicidal runs. Fighting ruts cut the track from his 52-inch tires on the very edge of losing control of Bluebird. Campbell set a new land speed record of 403 miles per hour. On the last day of 1964, the British record breaker became the first man to own land and water speed records in the same year. It would be Donald Campbell's crowning achievement. The last great water speed barrier was still the 300-mile-per-hour record. In January of 1967, he returned to Lake Coniston. On his initial run, Campbell pilots Bluebird to speeds topping 260 miles per hour, but nothing near the magic 300-mile-per-hour goal. The tension in the camp is thick. It affects everyone, most of all Campbell's wife, Tanya Bird.
When he's actually doing the runs, it's so exciting that you forget all the danger. But when he's not doing the running, you're sitting around, the danger is all you think about.
January 4th, 1967. Donald Campbell successfully races Bluebird beyond the 300-mile-per-hour barrier. This is a historical achievement. The supreme accomplishment by an individual pursuing his dreams despite overwhelming odds. But Donald Campbell's work isn't done. According to international rules, he must turn the jet-powered boat around to make a second run and confirm the official world record.
Complete accident, I'm afraid. Over.
The worst fears of his crew and family came true when Bluebird flipped at more than 300 miles per hour. The high-speed impact shattered the craft. Pieces of the jet boat sank immediately. Donald Campbell's body was never found. The current official water speed record, 317 miles per hour, was set 11 years after Campbell's death. Even though his records have been broken, the incredible achievements and legacy of Donald Campbell and his family still stand. What an amazing show! I'm Kendra King. On behalf of the Stuntmasters and Motion Picture Marine and all around the world, thanks for sharing the rush!
And from the beautiful Coeur d'Alene Resort, where we've just seen a fantastic boat jump, this is Jack Scully, and we'll see you next time on Stuntmasters. As always, stay safe.
The stunts featured in this program are very dangerous and have been performed by experts and must not be imitated at home.